Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in, and as a part of our ongoing video series, today we have with us Mr. Sukhesh Madaan, who is the CEO of Blaupunkt Audio in India, and we're going to catch up with him and see what he's been up to in this lockdown and how he is planning the moves forward once the lockdown ends. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And as my first question is, how has this lockdown been for you personally? What have you been up to? Is it working from home, or have you been able to catch up on some of your favorite movies, TV shows, hobbies, books?
Thank you, Samir. First, let me say thank you to you and Digit for having me. I think it was a long overdue. I really wanted to be this, like, has been always one of my favorite magazine when I started my career and kept growing. So good, finally, how we are catching up. Your question, yeah, super interesting. So it is right. Of course, work from for home and work from home both are happening in parallel, as we just discuss other way around. Uh, Honestly, first 1 week was very chaotic. We could not really figure out how to manage things because practically, I think none of us, either my employers or me, have really worked from home. So we kept struggling with a lot of operational challenges, the timings and everything. But last, I think 15 days or so, I think we have pretty much settled down with the routine. We have kind of started syncing up among all of us as an employer that, okay, let's start at 10. Let's have a hour break for lunch. Don't like jump into that. Like 2 and 3 is like just no meeting time and other things. All said and done, I think still it's taking little for each work. It's taking little longer than what it used to take when we guys were there in office. When you have to get hold of people and there are different locations, different geographies, bandwidth challenges and other things are always there. I think as a country we're still not ready for work from home story. On the personal front, interesting times, of course. All the mates are off, so then you have to divide the work among your family members. And I've been on, I'm honoring my responsibilities of dustings and sometimes cleaning of utensils. So I think I have done a decent job there. I have to check with my wife, but I think I have done a decent job there. On a serious note, yeah, uh, the thing which I can really do is I could read a bit. That was always one thing which I really love, but then somehow with the way work life right now is, that always used to go on the back foot. But I'm catching up on a couple of books, and I'm also trying to think beyond lockdown. Of course, this is a time. These are tough days, but sooner or later this will pass. Then what next? And that's what we are trying to strategize among the leaders, among the peers in our organization.
Okay, so when we speak of Blaupunkt, when we've talked to our audience, a lot of times the first thing that comes to their minds is car audios, right? That's the signature relatability when it comes to a brand like Blaupunkt. But recently, in the past year or so, you guys have also delved into the television segment. You have also delved into the home audio with a lot of sound bars. And
Right.
I'm sure because this has been a hot category over the past year, it could have affected the launch of future products or the sale of products right now. Could you talk a little bit about your product portfolio and how it's been affected and what's your plan going forward?
Sure. So Blaupunkt generally is a around 100-year-old brand, originated in Germany in 1923, actually started, and then we got the trademark in 1924. So of course you're right. In India, Blaupunkt in car audio is roughly around 20 years old. So even when we guys were growing up, this used to be one go-to brand. Like, if I have a Blaupunkt car speaker in my car, then like I have arrived kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
that's the way this brand was. So, and in fact, that's a passion. That's the love which drove me to have this brand in our category and start working on it. Uh, yes. So the way it is, in India, Blaupunkt has been divided into three different categories. Car audio is different. Then home and personal audio is what we handle, and then there's a TV category, which is a different organization which is taking care of it. So we started with home audio, which means sound bars, tower speakers, plus multimedia speakers, etc. And then last year, 2019 early, so January, February is when we started selling personal audio also in India. And touch wood, I think the response has been very good. We are people like, I think all the people like us who have grown up really aspiring for this brand, they really could relate to it. And we are doing pretty good business in last 1.5, 2 years. Coming to the product categories, so now we have basically three different categories: home audio, personal audio, and Bluetooth speaker, which boom boxes and party speakers goes into that. And Yeah, of course, because these are little lull period for us. Action starts with a May campaign, which used to be like a back to school campaign, and we used to start really, the sale we used to pick up again after a little dull period in February, March, and April. So now that is where the entire confusion, should I say, or entire stockpiling has happened. We don't know what's going to happen now after the market opens and everything. So a lot of products which have been ready at the factory level, we are not able to get them here. We don't know when should we do that, and etc.
So, how has this affected your new catalog launches as well? I'm pretty sure you had certain plans for this period, and because of the shift, you will now probably, if you were going to, let's say, launch a new home audio system in April, May, now that will be pushed to June, July. We've seen so many companies officially announce the push of certain
Right.
products. How
Right.
has that affected you?
Yeah, so that's been tough, as you rightly said. I think we always typically used to let's look at the silver lining. I'll be honest. This was still a little dull period. God forbid if this would have happened in say August, September, October kind of time frame. I think a lot of my friends and us will have been like really wiped off or something like that. So of course our new launch has been pushed up for a couple of months now. Half the products are ready, half the products are still in development stage. So those things are all held up at certain levels, at either an R&D level or at the production level. But still we can afford to kind of push it by a couple of months because real season starts from August onwards.
Yeah.
August, September, October are like really big for us. We do around, I think, in those 4 months we do around 40-50% of our sale for the entire year. So I think that's a saving grace. So we can still afford to do it. Consumer electronics as an entire category can really, still can manage it. I'm like these things. If you look at I think the juices and drinks and other those categories which are at the peak season right now, my heart really goes to them. How exactly they would be managing it now.
Yeah, a lot of people actually, because the lockdown started at the end of March, and for those that live in hot cities,
Absolutely.
AC
Yeah,
was a big service that has taken an impact, and those that haven't gotten the AC service are really struggling.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's one of the part. But then look at the juices and the cold drinks and other things. People who have all stocked up
yeah,
before this lockdown happened because they typically push up their production by January end. So and they have all perishable products. So just imagine how the life would be for them.
absolutely. So just sticking with a conversation that I've had both with my peers, with my friends who are now at home. Some of them are looking to either upgrade their TVs when they, get out of the lockdown because they finally realize that even going forward after the lockdown ends, life is not going to be the same. You can't go
Yeah.
to a multiplex and enjoy a movie, right? So home theaters, sound bars, televisions. On the one side, there is a certain category of people that is looking forward to upgrading this at some level because they know that this is going to entertain them going forward.
Right.
The other hand, there is that spectrum of people that want to upgrade this, but because of the tough times, they've probably either seen a job cut or a salary cut, and their aspirational device for purchase in 2020 might not happen. Being in the business right now, how do you look at this from a prospective client who's actually going to buy something because he knows I'm going to stay at home and entertain myself versus the potential customer who's probably faced a salary cut and now needs to pull back? So, as a
Right.
business and as someone selling a product, how do you see these scenarios?
Yep. So we keep getting data from our headquarter in Germany. So generally, the data says there is a steep jump of around 20% for all the countries where they are still allowed to serve these products. So practically, there are a lot of countries in Europe where earphones, headphones, etc., are part of the essential commodities. So they are Amazon there is still selling it. So there is a good jump of 20% there in the demand. But at the same time, as you rightly said, country is different from one country to the other country. Maybe social security structure in European countries is much better than what we have in India. So that means the job losses could be maybe more severe in India, maybe what it could be in Europe. But I think all put together, I agree with your point that people are looking at salary cuts and job cuts and everything. As of now, I think our data says that we should get an initial jump when we start, whenever the lockdown opens. But again, but it will be just initial push, in maybe first 15 days, 20 days, where people really, all want to buy up. But then it will settle down to the normal demand. But then that's only true for e-com. Retail is a different story altogether. We have another 40-50% business coming from retail, channel, and corporate sale. We are worried about that because there we don't see, even like as you rightly said, the malls will not open, the multiplexes won't open. Then that means a lot of these retail chains, Chroma stores, etc., also may not open. So that means that sale will go for a toss. And even if they open, I don't know, people like you and me, how comfortable we'll be walking into a store which is crowded by 30, 40, 50 people. So that's a little tricky part.
Absolutely. Also, another thing that we have noticed, and I spoke to a couple of TV manufacturers in India, and they highlighted the fact that they had enough stocks from China for some of their supplies that they need to in India. But again, Make in India is more of an assembled in India kind of a concept, right? Do you look at this current situation as an opportunity for the government of India, for the manufacturing sector to actually step up when it comes to essential consumer electronics, which is currently an assemble in India situation?
I completely agree with you. Yeah, you're right. So most of these so-called make in India is still more or less assemble in India. They get everything from there, just save some duties and then do the assembling part here, packaging part here. This is of course a great opportunity, and we are, in fact, because we are connected to a global organization, so we are talking to our counterparts in, say, Poland and Germany and Italy and other places, and they are also in fact asking me that, can you guys step up? Can you guys set up your own production house, and then we can also start buying from you? So there is for sure an opportunity. Now the point is how quickly, how aggressively, from the strategy point of view, from the execution point of view, we can capitalize on this. That's going to be a key point. Because all said and done, let's be honest, when China is doing all this manufacturing, it's just not they are manufacturing, but the entire ancillary units, right from when you make a product, right from a screwdriver. And we keep visiting China factory very, very often. So there is like, for one end product, there are like 20 more factories which are running in tandem, right from packaging, printing to even building up a screwdriver, making those ICs and chipsets and everything. So there is like separate organization which are doing this thing, and then one organization just pull everything in together and build a product. So that means it's just not about stepping up one specific company to step up and say, oh, now you know what I can manufacture. The entire supporting structure, the entire ancillary structure has to be in place before we really do that. I think which is a far cry, which really need a very, very strong focus and push from government. And push cannot be just from the negative perspective. You know what? I will increase the duty on the product which are coming from China, and that by default will, uh, maybe motivate or demotivate people to bring from China and motivate to do it here. I don't think so. That's really working because we have seen that happening, and then what best we have become is assembling unit. So the
Yeah.
entire structure of where you have the entire ancillary structure in place, you give loans, technology advancement and all those things. Then only this will really work out.
Absolutely. And of course, keeping in line with the fact that the government has to take an initiative to do this, what can you highlight on any the recent FDI changes that are happening, or any foreign company that, let's say tomorrow, an Apple, of course, Samsung has a very big manufacturing facility here in Noida where they're exporting things also, but let's say any other big consumer electronic brand, even Blaupunkt, for example, would like to come to India. How is the FDI affecting this or changing this? Can you highlight that?
So the only major change which I heard in recently is that Indian government talking about you know uh, all the Chinese companies which were there are some regulation been put in place. Rightly put, they are saying government is just saying that next time when China's company want to invest, they need to go through an approval process from us. That's the only FDI changes as of now we are seeing in our sector. Of course, there are certain push happening in health sector and other things, but I'm just talking about my sector. That's what I really understand. And as I earlier said, yes, our rest of our counterparts in rest of the country, Europe, Australia, even Americas, we are, there is a positive vibe there where they are saying, can you do that? Can you step up? Can India step up and, take care of all these things? And they, of course, understand that, if India really step up, our manpower costs, our real estate costs for sure will be cheaper than China, and there could be some advantages there in terms of pricing. And so there is a thought there. In fact, we are also talking to certain people, but I'll be honest, these are as of now still talks. We have not really got into some concrete stuff into it, and we have not seen anything really coming from government or the boarding or authorities or someone saying, because you guys are doing reasonably good volume, can you, do something, or can you give us something, or can we work together to do this thing? I think that's still not there.
Okay. Anything that you would like to highlight as a CSR activity that Blaupunkt has undertaken to contribute to the community in this time?
Well, Blaupunkt at a global level, of course, is doing a lot of things in Germany and other places. I'll be honest here because, for us, we are more like an SME, in India. And our focus right now is to make sure that, we are doing some small, we are actually connected with a couple of NGOs, which we do regular stuff, like Save Earth and other thing. We are doing them, we monthly donate them, do a lot of things with them. But honestly, we haven't done anything big out of league for this. Right now, honestly, for us, the bigger point is how can we go through this phase, and come out of it with our entire people, our team, everything intact. And that has been honestly the biggest challenge right now. And whatever routine we are doing, we are of course doing it. We are like not denying, going away from that for sure.
All right. Okay. Anything else that you would like to add to this conversation that I may not have asked in these questions?
No, I think you have covered a lot of it, and you really understand how the market is really shaping up for us. The business has been completely zero. We are just not doing any sale on last 40 days, 45 days. By the time this will get over, only request to the government is maybe then we should let minimum we should e-com should start because minimum some business will come back on track because we have people, we have to feed them, and of course there is government suggestion regulation that we should pay our employees all the time. But then of course no one has endless pockets, especially in the SME segment. We are also struggling. So one, of course, I'll request to people and authorities that let e-com start minimum, and so we can start getting some revenue. And there could be some pent up demand, as earlier we discussed. So maybe that we can help. Even people are struggling. I know a lot of my friends who are saying, can you get me a Bluetooth speaker? Can you get me a earphone? I'm not able to do a conference call and other things. And my office is also closed. We have stock piled up there, but I can't even take one unit out and give it to them. So I think that will help for sure. That that is something. And then maybe I'll request government to go a little innovative in taxations, in GST calculations and everything, because it could not be just our responsibility to pay all the employees 100% salary or something. Maybe there could be some innovation out there. Maybe you can give us some GST relaxation, which we don't need to pay the taxes. If we delay it, we don't need to pay interest and other things. So I think there's a lot of things which government can do. But having said that, I also understand government situation because uh, there are less of us organizations and there are more of people who are below poverty line or which are to be taken care of, Jan Dhan Yojana and other things. So government is already spending a lot of money. So, but I think we have some expectation. Let's see if those can be taken care.
Absolutely. I guess as of recording this video, it's just another 3 days of the lockdown that we need to deal with. We'll finally realize what's happening. Thank you so much for joining me on this call. And for the rest of you that are watching, know that we have a series of interviews with industry experts on our YouTube channel. You can check those out. And for the upcoming interviews, you can subscribe to our channel. We will catch you in another video. It's goodbye for now.
Thank you, Sameer. Have a safe.
Yes, thank you so much for this. This was great. Thank you so much.